Welcome back, everyone, to the fourth episode of Did We Stutter, aka the Marianne and Rachel Show. It's a Friday after Thanksgiving. Happy
Woo,
Thanksgiving. We hope
woo,
you
woo,
had
woo.
fun, ate well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Slept forever. Went to sleep
Good.
at like 8:30 and bye everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I went to bed early too, but it was like 11:30 early for me. Yeah.
Oh
I
wow.
was trying to read a book. I'm reading Dracula.
Oh, good for you. That's a really good book.
Oh, it's good. It's really funny. I keep laughing. It's
All
not
about the
supposed to be
vamp.
funny.
You know, I'm all about the vampires.
I know. I was
Anyone
like,
dark, brooding, moody.
yeah, pale.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Gail and PETA, but
but they're living.
vampires win.
They don't eat you. Who wants to
That's
be a
true.
snack?
Oh man. Well, we're switching gears. We're not going to talk about books or movies. We're going to talk about work. Our favorite topic.
I can't wait to retire.
One, we can't wait to retire. That's true. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I guess I always mention little work snippets to Rachel, like, oh, I'm teaching this, I train this, and I have a very ambiguous job. I do all these type of operational stuff for a customer. I'm in customer service is the best way to describe it. And I noticed, I see people new coming in and out, and I provide training that there's kind of a lack of soft skills. And I know Rachel was like, what is a soft skill?
Please tell us.
Yeah, please. I will tell you. I think, a hard skill is like, I know Excel. I know how to use PowerPoint and Word. And I think a soft skill is how do you get there and how do you make things happen with other people, either cross-functionally or in a matrix or to another group, to a client, to a vendor. How are you executing and writing your email? Like, is your tone okay? When you're leading the meeting, are you taking meeting notes and being confident in your PowerPoint presentation in front of all these people? Like, that's what I think of soft skills. It's kind of a little bit of common sense and a little bit of experience.
Lacking these days.
Which is there's no SOP for common sense.
Standard operating SOP?
Standard operating procedure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. But I just noticed this, and I wonder if people are afraid to make mistakes, or we now live in a culture where people just Google something and they find the answer and that's it.
Yeah.
But that's what I find in my training and meeting people, that people are really lacking that experience of how do you build that relationship with your client or vendor to make sure everyone is successful. Like, you can't just be like, hey, do this. Hey, how are you? Hope all is well. Could you please execute X? Oh, it's due by this. If you need any support, please let me know. Thanks, best Marianne. I mean, there's a snippet of how I email.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lack of that, of just building relationships. And it's things you can't teach. Either you just learn from your mistakes, and just learn by just working with different people, because everyone works differently, and how do you adapt to that to make sure you're successful. And let's be honest, like, work is a piece of our lives, but it's not like the main thing of our lives, and that's something I've learned too. Like, it's just a job.
That's a means to an end.
Yeah, it's a means to an end.
Yeah.
To pay your bills, have health insurance, all those things. But I still think those soft skills are important, not only in work, but like in your everyday life. So what do you think of soft skills, Rachel?
I was wondering if you think there are certain personality types that are better at soft skills for customer service compared with other jobs. Yeah.
I can think of a few people that should not be in customer service.
Right. I can.
Like, can you picture my husband? No, he would be so bad at customer service.
No offense, Sean, if you watch these.
Yeah, no offense.
Oops. I said his name. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Okay.
But I think you're right with personality. Like, if you're extrovert, if you're introverted, that does play. And I bet it is hard for introverts to like collaborate. Like, it's always been hard to do a group project.
Oh, I hate group
Like there's
projects.
always the one person leading, the second person kind of helping, the third person that doesn't do anything.
And the person
And
that just ghosts you the whole time. That's the
yeah,
fourth one.
it just doesn't show up.
Lazy bum. Or do you think
Yeah.
that people are lazier these days?
I don't think they're lazy. I guess it depends.
Mm,
I don't, that's a hard one. I think, I worked in the government and I also now I work in the private sector. I see laziness in both.
mm.
So that's a tough one. But I
Regardless of
think there is
age?
fear. Huh?
Regardless of age, people are equally lazy across the
Oh
board.
yeah.
Okay.
In the government, there was like a big gap in the 90s where they didn't hire a lot of people. So there were people ready to retire and then people my age that just graduated college starting their careers.
Mhm.
So I remember being this young little duckling, like, I'm so excited to work for the government. Like, I have a job now and benefits. I have a saving. I feel so
Yeah.
cool. And I go in, and then you find out a lot of people don't do their jobs. And you have to
Yeah.
really pull teeth and cat herd and be like, hey, can you do that for me? Because that's your job and not mine.
Right.
I remember I was really crushed by that.
Yeah.
That especially in the government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Having flashbacks to my first job, or actually, I think the realization started happening in college when I pictured me meeting all these people in my dorm floor, and we'd all work really hard and make note cards together and study. And
yeah,
it's just really just idyllic
it
landscape of
is.
academia. And that didn't happen at all. I was like, y'all lazy bums. You don't do anything. You'd wait till the last minute to get all your stuff done. And I was so disappointed. And then I was like, I'm going to my first job. It's going to be better. Everyone's going to have their lives together.
No.
No.
We're all
They're
faking
lazy.
it.
People don't care. It's like, you lazy bums. Yeah.
Till we're making it. I think too, I actually mentioned to my coworker, our next episode, we're going to talk about work. And I want to mention soft skills and the lack thereof. And he's like, I think it's because there's a lack of classes and education on it. Like there's no like home ec finance classes anymore, or
yeah.
I never took a class about how to build relationships in my job and be professional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think the leadership classes that some companies offer compensates for that, or no?
I think some do. I did in the government. I took a leadership class in Vegas.
That's an ironic location.
I learned stuff though. Remember my coworker planned it. I was like, I'll just hop along. I think that does help sometimes. But yeah, it depends if they pay for it or not. And it also depends if you have a really great boss or not.
Right.
I think no matter what job you have, no matter what you do, if I'm scrubbing the floor to whoever, or like being a CEO, if you have a great, well, I guess you're a boss when you're CEO. Anyway.
Someone know the board's in charge of you at that point.
Yeah. Someone's in charge of you.
Yeah.
I think if you have a great boss and no matter what you do, you'll have a great job. I think the boss makes the job, because I remember having micromanagers and you're like, get away from me. I like to be autonomous and do my own thing, and you have my back when I need you.
Yes.
And that's all I need. That's all I want. One of my favorite lines. That's all I want. So
wait, what movie is that from?
Oh, that's just me.
Oh.
I just say that a lot. That's all I want.
I don't want much. I don't ask for much.
Don't ask for much. And I'm also the type of person, like, I get my work done, I answer all my emails, and then I go and have my life. Right. And I think I bounce between, like, because I am a very ambitious person. I am an overachiever by nature. Like, I do want to get to the next step, but I wonder if that's been ingrained in me because I think, we went from 11th grade, 12th grade, college, math, you keep going up. Is that just built in me because that's how the school system is? Or do I really want to succeed and be?
Maybe it's a bit of both.
But then sometimes I'm like, F this. Like, I just want to be happy. Like, I range from that of like, yes, I want to be successful and I want to do well and I want that beautiful title and salary and etc. Of course, everyone wants more money, But then I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, as long as I have a paycheck, I can pay my bills and I'm with family and friends, that's it. So I'm not gonna lie, I definitely go back and forth about promotions, careers. And sometimes I'm like, well, I just have to think about today. Like, let's just stay in the now and let's not get too crazy. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
It's easy to imagine whatever.
Right. You had mentioned you think a lot of it has to do with fear. What do you mean by that? A lot of the lack of soft skills.
I think they're afraid to make a mistake and get in trouble. I really think people are afraid to fail, and I don't think in our society we say it's okay to fail as much as we want to. Yeah, I remember someone said something to me like, we got to succeed, we got to do well, we got to build a muscle. But no one's ever told me, hey, if you fail, it's okay. Like, I don't
not coming
remember
for you.
hearing that. I just don't remember hearing that growing up.
Have I had a job where people didn't care? One job they really, really cared, and they were out of control with it. To the point
we get a lot of that.
Yeah, it was unrealistic. It was, don't make any mistakes ever. Well, hi, I'm human. I'll wait for you to make a mistake first, boss, and see what happens to you.
Turning the tables.
But it was arranged so that the people at the top protected each other, but they didn't protect the people at the bottom. What's the
middle management is so hard,
right?
I think every middle manager needs a leadership course or some support. Managing people is very hard. Especially like, do they care? Do your people care? I think there's a lot going on there that needs to be fine-tuned, and not everyone should be a manager. Like, I had a really wasn't a great manager, but a great person. Like, I enjoyed his company, but man, I felt like I was leading him and blowing his mind. And this is where I get torn, actually. Like, I think when you work for your boss, you should always be impressing them and be the next obvious choice for promotion and making your boss look good. But I think nowadays, because people are fearful, they don't have those soft skills, they think their boss should give things to them. Like, you need to give me this support. I don't feel comfortable, and that's true in a lot of ways. But I think the majority of it is, hey, you should be doing this for your boss to help your company and help your market or whatever your job you're in. I remember telling that to my boss, and he was like, wow, Mary.
The same boss?
The same boss. Like, you're blowing my mind. And I was like, glad I'm blowing someone's mind, but
you were also dropping hints. Did he catch them?
I don't know. I don't think so. Again, a wonderful person.
Checked out.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think sometimes some work environments are really casual like that, where everyone thinks that you're their friend and all that fun stuff. So it's easy to be really relaxed and casual and not as professional. That's the private company I entered. I remember being like, wow, everyone's super friendly. This is weird. But they got the job done, which was totally different from the government. Like, everyone was really motivated and wanted to get things done. And I was like, well, this is great.
Because it's not fueled by tax dollars.
Yes, exactly.
Passive money. They don't have to do anything. It just happens. The money
just happens.
I guess Congress too, but that's a different story. If they get
it's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would love to know, what else are your thoughts on the work?
On working? I often think about how rare a really good boss is.
Yes.
Because you had mentioned bosses before. I think I was at one place where I had about 3 out of 4 bosses were exceptional. And I was like, this doesn't happen. This is not normal. Don't get too comfortable. And now I'm in somewhere else and I'm like, I just kind of do my own thing. And they don't really talk to me ever. Maybe like a couple times a month. And I mean, it's fine too, because sometimes I just don't want to be bothered, if I'm being completely honest. But then sometimes you're like, I'm like working in a vacuum. If I disappear, would they notice?
I would hope so.
Yeah, they'd notice eventually.
I know there's so many different work type relationships. I think, and it could be the super casual, friendly, where you feel like you're back in high school, to the
Right.
super professional, like, okay, hello. Where I remember I would just go to staff meetings in the government just to show my face, just so people like knew who I was. Again, another soft skill, like,
Hmm.
you got to work the crowd a bit. You got to toot your own horn and be like, hey, I'm this person, promote me. Like, I'm working really hard. Don't forget about me. Like, I think you have to, what was my other word? Other than work the crowd, you kind of have to build yourself up. And I think that was my way of networking, because I hated going to the like parties and events. I remember like my coworkers would drag me. I'm like, no, we don't have to, unless there's free food. Maybe I'll go.
Oh, I was thinking, oh, you got to be there for the food.
I guess so.
Oh man, those are my favorite things because people always have good food at them, especially the holiday ones. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I remember too, because I started really, I just graduated college. So I was really young in the government, and they like would offer alcohol, and I'd be like, no, like I don't want to make a fool of myself in front of my colleagues. I was so worried about that because, like you're 22, you're a little uninhibited sometimes. And I saw people get like really drunk and make fools of themselves. And I was like, whoa,
It's
girlfriend.
hard to get fired though, isn't it? Unless it's some sort of assault, inappropriate contact thing.
Yeah. So it can get kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anything else on work stuff? I'm trying to think. What was my other bullet?
So. Oh, I don't know. You tell me.
I think too, I see a lot of people always wanting to be promoted and going to the next step really urgent. I mean, okay, there's two different types of people that I see in my work. Like there's people who are lacking the soft skills, trying to figure it out, and I have to coach them and work with them. And then there's people that do have it, like they get it, they have soft skills, they have that awareness, they know their audience, of who's who and who to ask questions to. And they're just like, I'm ready for the next thing. And it's like, no, we're not like in grade school where you get a little certificate and now you're to the next step.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, like, have you done everything in your job to be the next like obvious choice for your role? And also, like, how are you treating your coworker? It's not just to your boss, but how are you known to the company? And how are you treating your coworkers? And how are you treating? I feel like it's really easy to go down up into the company. And like, I think that's when you notice all the brown nosers, like always when the boss is in the room, all of a sudden they're all like shiny and happy.
Yes, sir. No, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm
and you're
working
like,
away.
I'm scared of you because you just changed real quick.
Oh, yeah.
You were grumpy, and then all of a sudden you're all like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. I see you people. I see you. Can't get past me. But I think it's just really funny. There's some just very ambitious, eager people out there. And, I always tell this to people. It's kind of like dating. If you want to date a 10, you got to be a 10. If you want to be the next step, you better be a 10. And also to your coworkers too. Like, are you the coworker you want to be, that you want to work with? So it's kind of an overall around. Well, I don't want to say like most valuable player, MVP. I don't want to use any sports analogies because that's.
But it's true though.
But it's true. You have to be the overall package.
Right.
If you think you've done everything you can.
Right.
But that's something I've noticed.
Yeah. I guess too, people have to get used to the idea that maybe you deserve a promotion, but it might not happen because that's just because of budget things, because someone else is BFS with the boss and you're not, and you just don't get along with them as well or something like that. And it's just the way it is. You might have to suffer through for a while without a promotion. I think that's just kind of life, unless you are just like brown nosing your way to the top. Because people in leadership, especially in politics, which we're not talking about politics, just the nature of it with this statement.
It's an example
of you. It is who you know.
It's
working the system to get into places of power. And then the next question is, do you really want to be that high up to the top, that far up to the top?
Exactly.
Because there are certain, you might get a really great paycheck, but there are other things you're going to sacrifice, like your time,
your stress
level.
And I don't know, I like being in the weeds. I'm really good at emails and organizing a meeting and all the easy things, but it is fun. Like right now I'm trying to be more strategic and
Mhm.
scalable in my job and delegate more to my team and to others. So I'm in that sweet spot of like
Mm.
strategy, and still I love the details, the
Yeah,
small stuff. But I think you raised such a good point. Like, do you even want to go there?
right,
Will it be worth it?
right. I was talking with a boss I had because I work in higher ed, and we look at how much presidents of universities make, and it varies definitely. Like one school in the state where I live, the president there makes over $1 million a year, and I'm like, should he get that much money? That's my first question, because it's what's he actually do that makes it worth $1 million? But the next question is, do you actually want that job? And so my boss and I would say, I mean, most presidents that I know don't make that much money. They make like a couple 100,000, which is
Mhm.
definitely more than anybody needs. So we're like, if you ever get that job, just suffer through it for 3 to 5 years, maybe 7, depending. But presidents kind of cycle through a lot these days because people always get into drama that's in the news. Just save your money while you're in that job and you're just suffering through. Hopefully you do love it because you're an alma mater or whatever. And then you retire because you have saved your money really well after suffering through for 3 to 5 years. And I'm like, maybe I would suffer through the top job just to step down and then live my life under a rock not
Means to an
under a nice
end.
rock somewhere, you know?
I think you bring a really great point. Like, you don't have to love your job. Like,
Mhm.
I think a lot of people think like, this is it, this is my career. Actually, it's not over. You could start a YouTube channel, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. You
Subscribe.
know, like I never thought my career would go from I thought I was going to stay in the government forever. And then I switched coasts and switched completely different jobs. And I never knew I would land where I am. Like, it's not linear. It's definitely like, it's a maze.
Right.
And I think too, like, yeah, how long, maybe not suffer, but how patient are you
Mhm. Endurance.
to
Yeah.
endurance to handle things? Like, I remember someone came up to me like, I really don't know what I want to do next. And I was like, well, how patient are you to stay in this job while
Right.
you figure out your next step? Like, get your insurance, get your money. And then when you make up a plan, then you can jump ship and move to the next thing.
Mhm.
And I think I remember I read a quote, you don't have to let everything that bothers you bother you. And I was like,
That's true.
what?
Yeah, it gets psychological. It weighs you down.
Exactly.
You
It
can't be
weighs you
productive.
down. Yeah. And like, you know what? I know like I'm not going to love my job every day and I'm going to vent and complain, and that's okay. Like, I'm going to move on and watch TV or read a book. And then I'll repeat it the next day and wait for the weekend. Like,
And
it's
wait for the
just a
long
job.
breaks like Thanksgiving. Yeah,
Yeah. Long,
that's
long
true.
weekends. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Oh, work.
oh, work.
Oh, I remember one thing when I first started working, I think I had completed 1 month and I thought, oh, no wonder dad was grumpy when we were younger. Work. He worked with crazy people.
Hard.
That's why he was grumpy. We had to wait till he got a good meal in his stomach. And then we're like, Dad, can we have a question? Too funny.
Oh my God. I do want to mention one thing. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people use a lot of corporatisms and buzzwords at work, which really bug me. Because I do
tell.
use them too.
I don't know what
But
those are.
like,
I don't
oh,
think.
like, hey Rachel, have you identified the gaps and seek
Oh, that's
solutions
annoying.
for what?
Sorry, I feel
You know,
annoyed.
like those type of words, like
Yeah.
those little like my ask of you, or
Oh.
I'm curious to know, or
Just
per
tell me
my
what you want, people.
email. Like, I think there is a TikTok video of like someone going on a date using those terms, those buzzwords.
What's the business transaction?
Yeah, is this a business? I don't know. It's so funny. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, people don't use those. I've never had someone use that for me. It was like, I just want someone, like, if I want an email, I was like, did you get my email? You're not
No.
responding quickly. I know you check your other email because so-and-so told me that you had gotten back to them about something else. Where's my email?
Where's my email?
I'm knocking on your door.
I always try to make sure I don't write like too many exclamation points in my email, you know, like, hi, hello, hope you are well,
Oh
period.
yeah, it gets too, I think because we're women too, it gets too
Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm really happy to be here. And then
Not
guess
gonna
we'll-
lie, I've definitely used hello there, trying to mix things up a bit.
I'll
Hello
listen to your
there.
email. Hello there, Marianne.
Yeah, that's what I do to people. Hello there.
Too funny. Oh wait, okay, so maybe we can close with this unless you have other things to add. How do you close your emails? Best, sincerely. What do you use to close
I
your
use best. I like
Okay.
best. Keep it simple.
Okay, is that a salut? It's called salutation, right? Or is that the greeting? I always get salutation
I
backwards with
thought
your.
salutation and greeting are the same thing.
Okay, so what's the goodbye version? I'm gonna do a quick
Is it a-
thesaurus.
The
'Cause I forget what
goodbye.
the opposite of salutation is.
Yeah, I always do like, let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you. Best, Marianne.
There's one lady, she would use best regards all the time. I was like, I think I like that. Maybe I'll use best regards too. So I started doing it, but I don't know. I wanted it to feel a little bit friendly. Or sometimes when I'm really thankful someone did something for me, I'll sign off with thanks, Rachel.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a meeting where it definitely should have been an email?
Oh my gosh. I think those
have.
are most meetings these days.
I remember
Yeah.
I had a meeting about the next meeting and
Oh,
how
no,
we
no, no,
plan
no.
the next meeting. And I went, oh my goodness.
That's the
what's happening?
secretary's job or whoever does those things, right?
Just look at your calendars and find a time.
Right. And these days, all the tools tell you when everybody's free.
And now
Just
it's the
pick one.
best.
Or you have Doodle if you don't have, I used Doodle the other day for a meeting that wasn't like work related, and I couldn't get my Doodle right. It wasn't working. I don't know. It was embarrassing.
Right.
And then I was like, let's go old school. Just send me when you're free and I'll piece it together like a puzzle. I probably looked incompetent,
it.
but I was like, you know what? As long as we all meet, who cares? I'm doing the work anyway. You just have to respond.
You're the coordinator, taking
Yeah.
project lead. Hey,
I
we're
can't wait to
professional
retire.
cat herders. That's how I
This-
think of myself.
Yeah, this is like a side extra thing, and it's hurting cats sometimes.
It is. And not everyone can do it. And it requires
Yeah.
a lot of soft skill. See, you had a good soft skill. You adapted from the doodle and you emailed old school, like, when are you available?
Right.
You knew what to do.
Right. But I never expected to have to herd adult cats. I can understand herding toddlers, right? That's fine. They're a little crazy. They got their own little minds. They're just like, ooh, squirrel, squirrel. I get that. But I didn't expect adults to be that way. I
Squirrel,
thought you'd
squirrel,
have it
squirrel.
together. Yeah. I mean,
We're all
Uh.
just faking it till we're making it. Seriously.
some people don't even have to fake it because they just
Some people hide it better than others.
some people don't care because they know they can't get fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Yeah.
The best.
I wish I was independently wealthy. I'm not, y'all, by the way, in case you're curious. But I wish sometimes. Though being independently wealthy, you probably won't have certain character skills in most cases if you've had everything
Like
given
soft
to you.
skills.
There you go.
It's all connected.
We're coming full circle.
We're coming. There is one thing I wish I learned. I wish I learned how to do finances, the stock market, and how to
Right.
buy a house.
Mm,
I wish we learned those things
Mhm.
because like we're smart people. Like we're college educated. Like, and I think even if you're not college educated, you're still smart too. Like you learned something. But oh my God, buying a house, that was ridiculous. Like I was like, how many spreadsheets do I have? No one taught me that. I learned calculus. I don't need that. Like, come on. And also I wish I learned how to meal plan. That would have been nice to know too.
YouTube University.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just gotta learn by failing and don't be afraid, y'all.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, I guess there's only so much school can teach us. Everything else we have to teach ourselves. I was watching this guy who grew up in Philly, really, really poor, like one of 5 or 6 children. And he, instead of doing things that his friends did, like go play sports, he would go to the bookstore and he would, I think it was Barnes and Noble because I could tell by the shelves. And he would go to the bookstore and he would just read books on finance. So he taught himself how to save money.
Good for
And he
him.
taught himself about the stock market. And then he went and he worked on Wall Street. And now he is retired. He's like 38. And I'm like, my brother, okay. And he was
I
a
see
brother
you.
too, actually. I was like, okay, I see you retiring early. I want to retire too.
Good for
But it was really
him.
impressive. I was like, okay, maybe I'll link it below actually. I'll do my first link below.
You should.
that was good.
No, I think that's really inspiring. And I try to do that, like,
Mhm.
but it's not like serious like that. It's like, let me look at skincare routines or or how to
Yeah.
create a paleo version of this dish
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Cool beans.
yeah.
Well, it sounds like we're wrapping up.
Yeah.
that
Thanks
true?
for talking about work with me. It was a big
Oh, yeah.
ramble, but I have
Oh,
lots of fun. I
work.
do it all the time.
Yeah, it takes up more than 40 hours a week, I think. Yeah, it
Yeah.
does for most jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening, you all. And like and subscribe. I forgot to say that at the beginning. And we'll see you
I
next
just
week
point everywhere.
for another episode of Did We
See
Just
ya.
a Stutter?